again, ladies and gentlemen, and I know you missed us. We had some stuff going on, traveling issues, uploading issues, but ladies and gentlemen, we are back. This is the X and O show. I am Griffin Murphy. Alongside me is my absolute dog in August Young, and we are DocSports.com. August, how we living over there in London right now, brother?
Good, man. Yeah, good to see you again. Sorry we didn't do this show for a couple of weeks. We had some stuff going on, guys, but yeah, things are good, man. Like, hockey season's back. That's my jam, so I'm pumped about hockey.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite sports to watch, man. So yeah, things are good. How are things with you?
Things are going well, man. As you just mentioned, hockey's back in action. I just dropped my first play today. I'm ready to roll with that. Football's been on absolute fire. We'll get into that later on in the show. Baseball, we've got postseason, a lot of action across all sports right now. So you know me, brother, I'm fired up as all hell and ready to go for another huge weekend of football. And just for everybody who knows, everybody who is currently non-customer, we offer a free $60. I know, but nobody wants to hear about the free $60 stuff. Even me personally, I'll see ads, anything like that, and I'm just like, free, what's the catch? What's the catch? That link above right there, DocSports.com/free60. We will park a free $60 in your account for absolute free to any new customer. So don't hesitate to jump on board by any means. We've got a bunch of plays. Obviously, there's 12 cappers, August Young and myself. If you guys don't like us, well, there's 10 other cappers. You can go ahead and snag that free $60 and get their weekend slate. But jumping into this right now, August, before we get into some plays right now, I want to talk about a couple upsets. How about the Commanders last week? Did you happen to catch that game?
I did. Yeah, it's insane. Impressive stuff, man. Like, insane stuff. Like, we're getting into the Commanders game later, but Jaden Daniels, holy, he's good, man.
Against the Browns, bro. Unbelievable. And then you had the Broncos rolling the Raiders. You had Arizona beating the Niners outright. Just a crazy NFL weekend last week. And that,
college football was insane too, right? There was so many upsets, like, crazy week.
Dude, and it was hilarious because we recorded this show and we honestly, the entire show, bro, laughing back and forth because obviously, just so everybody knows, August and I, we send each other 4 games each week. It goes back and forth. We don't really pay, and we don't know who each other has going into each breakdown analysis, anything like that. And last week, the entire show, me and August are laughing, the agreement to disagree, because August would have one side, I would have the other side, or it would be, I'd be on one side, August would be on the total. So just so you guys know, before we jump into these breakdowns right now, there are going to be many games where me and August are on different sides. As you guys who are watching, the viewers, you guys see this. Take notes on this stuff. This is all calculated edge. You don't have to take my side. You don't have to take August's side. Get a notebook out, calculated edge. The goal is to end the season in profit. So when I throw out something that you guys may say, hey, I like this, note it down. August throws something that he says that you guys like, note it down. Calculate and stack confluences. Once you have stacked enough confluences, that's when you can get into your best bet. Now, we have 4 games coming at you guys right now, 2 NFL, 2 college football, and we are going to start in the college football side of things. August, we've got Florida rolling into Tennessee. Tennessee currently laying 15 points in this game at a total sitting at 55.5. This is a real weird game for me. Florida, they come into this matchup 3-2 on the season after beating UCF last Saturday in a 24-13 final. Everybody was so high on UCF coming into the season, but now we're 5 games deep, and it's starting to show that UCF isn't all that, dropping back-to-back games against Colorado and Florida. Colorado's playing some good football. I have to say they're on a 3-game win streak, and Florida, on the other hand, I'm just not quite sold on them yet. Graham Mertz, he leads the charge for Florida right now, and I can never find myself trusting this kid. Despite his 77% pass completion rating, 5 touchdowns and 2 picks, last season, this kid was an absolute turnover machine. Florida, they've had 2 tough matches this season, opening up the season getting embarrassed by Miami in a 41-17 final at their own house. And then in week 3, they got rolled by Texas A&M by 2 touchdowns. Here, you've got Tennessee. They're better across the boards against Texas when it comes to Texas A&M and arguably against Miami. Tennessee, they're coming off an outright loss to a very underrated Arkansas club in their most recent matchup. This, in my eyes, is another similar situation to where Kentucky, when they beat Ole Miss straight up, it was just simply a bad game on Ole Miss's behalf, and they went on the road right after that game, following that up, and beat South Carolina 27-3. So I hate calling these games bounce back games, but that's exactly what I see what we're looking at here. Tennessee is better coached. They're much stronger on the offensive front, and their rush game is beyond dominant. Florida, they have yet to had a tough schedule. Florida has not had a tough schedule by any means this season, and they're allowing 175 yards on the ground per game. It's very hard for me to lay 15 points in an SEC matchup, especially at this caliber of a game. I lean Tennessee here, but I believe the market over the price here, the total here, August. I don't see Graham Mertz being dominant on the deep ball. Tennessee has a very strong defensive line. They're stacked at that linebacker position. So this is going to force Mertz on the deep ball, which I don't think he's going to be capable of successfully landing in 4 quarters of football. So I am leaning here with Tennessee laying the 15 points, August, but my real play in this one is taking that under at 55.5 points. I think this total is way too high, and I'm drilling the under on this one, August. What's your take?
Yeah, man, good take. I'm in agreement, actually, especially when it comes to the Tennessee side. So, yeah, I know. Like, here we go. We get an agreement. Yeah, all right. So, Tennessee, as you mentioned, they're coming off that loss against Arkansas. I saw like all the media and the narrative on that was talking about how that was such a shocking loss, but not to me. I mean, yeah, they were minus 14 in that game. Of course, they were expected to win, but it's not like we're talking about a 30-point favorite or something that lost that game. It was a really rough situational spot for Tennessee. It was 3 road games in 4 weeks. And this is a spot that I really like them in off the loss. I know what you're saying about bounce back games and you hate calling them that. I kind of hate it too. Everyone, likes to talk about bounce back situations. But, right. This is a Tennessee team. They've only allowed 3 points at home so far this season while scoring 140. Obviously, the competition's been awful. Chattanooga, Kent State. But still, it's no joke winning 71-0 regardless of who you're playing. This is a Vols team. They rank in the top 5 in yards per play margin. And Florida being overvalued coming off the 2 big wins. They failed both tests this season against top 15 teams against Miami and A&M. Both those games were at home, and they were outscored 74-37 in those games. Now, Florida have been a cover machine in the head-to-head series here, but I do think that stuff's overblown. In my mind, it literally means little to nothing. Griff, I really like Tennessee here at anything of 17 and less, so you can get 2 touchdowns, minus 14. I like it. I think minus 14.5 is where I have the price right now. I don't think it matters. Anything below 17, I'm cool with. So yeah, that is going to be my free pick. We're going to take Tennessee, lay the 14.5. I think you can take them first half as well. Just look for where the key numbers sit on that one. I like Tennessee. So we're going to dive into the next one, which is going to be Texas at Oklahoma. Texas laying 14 here, total at 50.5. Interesting game. Obviously, the news we waited on this week was related to Quinn Ewers and if he's going to get the start. Current reports are that he is going to start. Steve Sarkisian, he said as much. He practiced last week. Full practice Monday, expecting to be a full go, as is the market based on the movement. I read somewhere, I forget where I read it, I took a note that this line is actually the largest favorite in the head-to-head series for Texas since 2005. I have to say, though, it's deserved. This is the best Texas team, I believe, in over a decade. Top 5 in a variety of metrics. They rank 5th in yards per game, 9th in yards per play. They also rank 2nd and 3rd in those same categories in overall yards margin. The Sooners they're dealing with serious injury concerns, especially at wide receiver. They might be 4-1 in the season straight up, but they've not impressed. The metrics do back that up. In fact, they're actually a negative 0.1 in yards per play margin and barely holding anything inside the top 100 in a bunch of offensive metrics, including yards per game. I don't like them here. Tall task against the Horns, who have been seriously like effing teams up. Griff, I'm going to roll with Texas minus 14 here until they prove me otherwise. I want to hear your take on this.
I love it, brother. We're on the same side here again. You know what? I'm going to have to go back to my agree to disagreement arrangement that I had started the show with now, because we're on point here, brother. Texas rolling into this game, same thing, man. One of the most dominant teams in college football, but you have to dig into their schedule right now and see who have they actually really played. And I'm going to give them credit on one big win, and that was week 2 on the road against Michigan. It turns out, though, Michigan is not by any means the same team that we watched last season on the television screen. Michigan is not as good at all. But Texas, perfect, 5-0 right now, and that's something to note. The trend is your friend, ladies and gentlemen. Always ride the trend. Oklahoma, they're a very overrated football team. And despite not having the easiest schedule this season, the main issue for this club is on the defensive side of the ball. Oklahoma allowed Houston to score 12 points on them. Houston has one of the worst offenses I've ever seen. Tulane, they put up 19 points against them. Tennessee just put 25 points against them, and Auburn put 21 points up against their defense. We can look at all the metrics here on Texas' behalf and initially say this is the best team in college football. But are all these metrics, do they correlate with their schedule? They haven't played anybody other than Michigan. Oklahoma, though, right now ranked 151st in the nation when it comes to passing yards against, which is brutal. Now they have to deal with a split quarterback situation. You have Arch Manning and Quinn Ewers, two of these top quarterbacks in the nation. I don't care what anybody says. Quinn Ewers will be getting the start here, but don't be surprised if Manning takes some snaps in this matchup. I expect Texas to light it up in this game on the pass game, especially with Bond, Golden, and Helm. These three receivers are absolutely dominant. I don't see how Oklahoma is going to sustain in the secondary, and this is going to lead to two sequences in my eyes. This over is going to drill at 50.5 points, and I love Texas here laying the number here. I think that as easy as their schedule has been, you have to remember the trend is your friend. This team is still unbeaten, and they have proved every single week to be the better football team in every single matchup that they have played this far. Oklahoma, they've already gotten a taste of real SEC football, and they didn't impress whatsoever. So, August, give me the over at 50.5, and I'm laying the 14.5 here with Texas. Right now, that line shifting between 14 and 14.5. If it lands on 14.5, buy that thing down to 13.5, shave the 2 touchdowns, get that out of place, and just make it a 13.5 with Texas. That is my free play. But now let's shift right on gears into the NFL. Good stuff, fun stuff rolling right in here, man. And we're going to talk about the Detroit Lions currently laying 3.5 points rolling into Dallas to play the Cowboys. We've got a total sitting at 52.5 right now. I'm going to start this off right now. It's been apparent. Detroit is no joke. I was iffy about this team heading into the season, and that was strictly due to Jared Goff. How consistent can this guy be, and can he have another successful season? Goff does have 4 picks on the season right now, but he's passed for over 1,000 yards in the air. He's backed up by one of the strongest 1-2 punches in the NFL when it comes to the running back spot with Montgomery and Gibbs. The offense, they move at an incredibly fast pace. They have dominant speed, especially with Gibbs on that sweep. He really splits the corners up on that defensive side. Detroit right now, they're 3-1. Their lone loss comes back to week 2 against Tampa Bay. They set themselves up here for success. They took down a very underrated Arizona club on the road 2 weeks ago. They followed that up with a 13-point victory over Seattle in their most recent matchup, putting 42 points up on the offensive side. Now Detroit coming off a bye week into this game, and I'm going to get into some against the spread trends here. Detroit right now presently 1-0 against the spread on the road, 3-1 against the spread as favorites last season. And right now, or last season, they went 5-1 against the spread with a rest advantage. Dallas, on the other hand, they're in a straight debacle in my eyes. They barely slipped past Pitt in their most recent matchup, winning by a game-ending touchdown. Dak threw one in the corner, which ended up giving them that victory, which they shouldn't have even had. They have an awful coach with Mike McCarthy, who I'll never trust. So I'm sitting with Detroit here. Dallas goes into this matchup, and then this comes followed up by a bye, and they need that bye. They got to get their shit together right now. So this is fully set up in Detroit's favor. I'm laying the 3 points here. I think the market underpriced this game, and it's just strictly because, when you see Dallas on the map, Dallas is always a tough team to face. They always keep games tight, as what it seems, but Detroit's the much better team here, August. So I will be laying the 3 points on this one, laying the 3 points with Detroit in this one. August, what is your take in this one?
First of all, man, look at you with that trend. I love it. The 4-1 off rest advantage last season. Nice. Very nice. So we do have a disagreement, though. I like Dallas. So you know my style when it comes to this stuff, how I like to roll in the NFL. For me, it's about buying low on teams, taking advantage of incorrect market perceptions, and picking up on teams with added value. That's just like how I tend to do things. And that is what I see here with the Cowboys. They've struggled so far this season at AT&T. Now, the numbers show that Detroit have been better, especially when it comes to like yards per play margin and DVOA and all that kind of stuff, especially on offense and defense. But the difference here for me, Dallas have played the much tougher strength of schedule. In fact, I was looking through the strength of schedule ratings based on current team perceptions and average market lines. Detroit current strength of schedule ranks 27th of all teams. So, just the way the travel spots worked and how teams have shook out, like it's not been a hard run for Detroit. One other thing, Griff, I've taken a lot of heat on this one, okay? And I'm going to say it again now. I have to defend this endlessly. It's good fun for me. I have Dak Prescott ranked much higher than Jared Goff, and I have him actually ranked as the 4th best quarterback in the league, behind Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and of course, Patty Mahomes. I have Dak Prescott 4th. I mean, it's just what my numbers tell me. I'm not saying the eye test, I watch his games and think he's like unbelievable. But when you run through all the metrics and predictive metrics, like the dude, he's very good. Anyway, so getting into this, I'm willing to take on anyone who wants it when it comes to that. I can pull out the metrics. If you want to hit me up on Twitter, we can get into it again. But moving on, Dallas still looking for their first home win. I think it's coming sooner rather than later. Detroit covering both road games this season has them perceived higher in market. Honestly, I don't really have much narrative to add other than this is a buy low spot for me on Dallas and the fact that my model just prices this closer to a pick 'em. I'm just going with what my numbers have on this. I trust my model. It's generally performed better than the market in terms of like error and everything. So for me, I have it close to a pick 'em. I got to take the +3 on the home dogs here with Dallas. That's just the way I see it. So we'll dive into the last game, which is the Washington Commanders, Baltimore Ravens. Total 51.5. Got the Ravens laying 6.5. We talked about this, how insanely good as Jaden Daniels looked. I mean, this kid, I loved him at LSU. He's impressed us all this performance so far this season. My metrics have him 15th best quarterback in the league based on all metrics combined. And he actually ranks 1st in completion percentage over expected. The thing with that, deciphering something like over expected can either be good or bad, because it either lets you know, right, that a guy's doing much better than the market's picking up on, or he's overperforming, or it's some positive variance, right? For me, I generally, especially with new quarterbacks, like to lean into the fact that they're not fully being picked up yet, and I think he's probably going to regress. He wasn't throwing any interceptions, then he started throwing a few. When it comes to this, I think the Commanders, they played a very easy strength of schedule. The same cannot be said for Baltimore. I mean, they're 3-2, could be 4-1 without that toe on the line thing that happened in week 1 at KC. They played Cincinnati, Dallas, they had the home game with the Bills mixed in. Rough schedule for the Ravens. And they've looked good lately. They started the season 0-2. They've reeled off 3 straight wins. And keep in mind, as I mentioned, that play in week 1 could easily be 4-1. For me, this is a really fun game. 2 dynamic quarterbacks should sling this one out. Baltimore ranked 1st in yards per play, 2nd in DVOA offensively. Washington have had a lot of success with the rushing, which has opened things up for Daniels. For me, Griff, I have to look at the over here, the current market price of 51.5. It's a high total. I just see points in this one. This is going to go back and forth. For me, I'm going to take the over 51.5. So I'm interested to see if we got another agreement on this one. I see you nodding, but I don't know. Let's see.
So, yeah, bro, I'm going to jump right into this. And everybody, please do us a favor. Drop in the comment section letting us know how you feel about the agreement and disagreement thing. And if you guys would prefer us selecting games that we both agree on every single matchup, or if you guys like the agreement/disagreement. I think it gives out so much more confluence, knowledge, expectations, just different varieties of how our minds operate, how our algorithms work, how our brains work, the eye test, everything along those lines. So please feel free to comment and let us know what you guys think, because again, August, we're going to be on the opposite side with this one, and I'm going to explain right now why. So Washington right now playing full-blown dominant football. And it has nearly everything to do with Jaden Daniels at that quarterback spot. I mean, you nailed it. The kid's playing absolutely out of his mind. And do I see a regression in format? Absolutely, and absolutely so. The rookie out of LSU has already passed for 1,135 yards. He's got 4 touchdowns in the air, 300 yards on the ground, and 4 touchdowns with his legs. Baltimore, here's the issue. They run a utility-based defense, and this could be a massive weakness here. Daniels is so fast on his feet. If Baltimore pulls linebackers in, this could give him a tremendous amount of running room outside of the pocket. We're aware of how dominant this Baltimore Ravens team can be on both sides of the ball. We just really haven't seen much of it yet, and that is due to strength of schedule, as August had mentioned. Baltimore right now, 3-2 on the season. They did just allow Cincinnati to put up 38 points against them on the defense defensive side. But we have to be aware of how strong Derrick Henry is on the ground and how slippery Lamar is in the pocket. Looking at this game, Harbaugh is going to want to keep the ball out of Daniel's hands with this Washington Commanders team. So where do you look at that? You go to your 250-pound running back in Derrick Henry. This is going to control clock management in my eyes. Henry right now is averaging 6 yards per carry, and Washington has a massive weakness on the defensive side, and that is defending the rush, allowing 130 yards on the ground per game. I see this being a massive game breakout for Derrick Henry. Look for him on prop sides. That's definitely going to be somebody to keep your eye out, and he'll probably be in one of my premium selections coming out this Sunday. This signals to me an underplay here due to clock management. You have two dynamic offenses going head-to-head, so that's going to really reel the public into an overplay. When you really break this thing down, though, the case is drilling the under. And Washington, if you tease them, if you like Washington in this game, tease them up to 12.5 points with somebody else you like on the slate. That's what I really like here. But my play in this one, August, is I'm taking the under at 51.5. I think this is going to be a very big run game for Derrick Henry. I think Harbaugh is going to want to control the clock, which is going to eat it up, and which obviously means low-scoring game. But before, obviously, we wrap up here, August, obviously, you guys have all four of our selections. Take what you want from them, go from there. But August, what do you have going on this weekend, man?
Yeah, so we just got done with most of the premium football picks. Gonna have a 7-unit NFL going Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, day games. That's it for big plays this week. I like the football card as a whole. A little lighter than last week. Last week, Griff, was one of those weeks you probably have one it like once a season. Like, it wasn't awful. We went 3-5. Realistically, based on how the games played out, should have been 7-1. We're talking the most ridiculous things were happening, like, for negative variance. I had that Troy over 57. There was 55 points with 18 minutes left, and there was no more scoring. It's just like, it was one of those weeks. There was fumbles at the 1-yard line. There's all this crap. Missed extra points, to shave by a half point, not cover. But NFL's been great to me. We're 9-2 on sides, NFL sides this season. So I'm very pumped about the 7-unit we got going on Sunday. Hockey has been killing it. Had a 3-0 sweep yesterday on the ice. Hockey's our thing, man. So playoff baseball as well. We're closing in on 100 units on the season for baseball as well. So I have a 7-unit going tonight, but this won't go out till tomorrow. So anyway, how about you, man? What you got going?
This weekend, so I've got a 3-pack on Saturday. I've got a 3-pack on Sunday. I've been dice rolling. I've hit 3 straight 6-unit best bet winners when it comes to college football. So I've got another one on tap for Saturday, 6-unit best bet I absolutely love. And then when it comes to NFL, I'm currently 14-4 on the season. I'm up $4,200 on the entire season in a whole sum, and I'm 25-13. And I believe that's hitting like 78%, 77%. So I am dice rolling right now when it comes to my football selections across the board. But 3 plays on Sunday, 3 plays on Saturday, 7-unit best bet on Sunday, 6-unit best bet on Saturday, 6 plays across the board, locked in across all spectrums, man. And I'm ready to go. I'm excited. We have a huge slate on deck. The slate looks very clean, very easy, which last week, just as you mentioned, we can get into it right now, dude. Look at some of these upsets. The Commanders dominating the Browns, Broncos rolling over the Raiders, Arizona beating up on the Niners straight up. It was just a very weird weekend. But obviously this weekend, we've got a whole new slate on tap, so I'm ready to rock it, brother. And just so everybody don't forget, again, I know you hate hearing us say it, we have that $60 link right there. If you're a new customer, please jump on board. If not, though, no hard feelings. It's all good, but free $60. We'll park it right on your account. If you don't like myself, if you don't like August, we've got 10 other cappers on the site. You can go ahead and grab their picks for absolutely free. And we're going to wrap it up from there. We appreciate all of you guys tuning in to the X's and O shows. I am Griffin Murphy. Alongside me is August Young. And trust and best believe we will be back next week, Thursday, every single Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The X's and O show goes off. So thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week.